Thank you, and before I've got some prepared remarks, that's the professor in me, but I want to say to each of you guys that played for me, and there are a lot of you here, just how gratified I am and how meaningful it is to have you here. My paternal grandfather was fond of saying, "Thank yous don't cost anything, but they can buy a world of goodwill." Certainly anyone honored in this fashion owes debts of gratitude to many individuals. And I want to recognize some of those whose friendship, influence, guidance, and simple goodwill underlies my presence here tonight. My wife, Ann, tolerated long road trips, late practices interfering with meal times, a grumpy spouse in the aftermath of losses, and much more. Beyond that, for the first year of the program, she provided sterling service as chief washerwoman, laundering the uniforms after each match, and then, since they couldn't be dried, in a machine, hanging them on the line at our home. Our daughter, Natasha, offered one little girl's valiant efforts as a cheerleader, dressed in a uniform of garnet and gold, lovingly sewn by her grandmother in the program's early years. The late Mary Rowland Griffin, a member of this Hall of Fame, and as warm and winsome a personality as one could ever wish to know, worked closely with me at the outset of the program and did what any coach would want from an athletic director. She gave me a budget, provided encouragement and support, offered trust. Her successor, Neil Gordon, functioned in a very similar manner. Mind you, when it came to an athletic director's perspective, whatever else I did or didn't do, I was a dream coach. My starting salary was $2,400. It eventually rose to the whopping sum of $7,000. For those munificent monetary incentives, I not only coached in the fall, but had indoor soccer squad in the winter and a few weeks of practice and friendlies each spring. I suspect Tom Hickman would love to work with such budgetary figures. On the flip side of the coin, though, Coach Pasapanko, who's in the back, is likely muttering to himself, "Would you shut up and quit planting bad seeds?" Andy Solomon, yet another member of the Hall of Fame, did yeoman duty as sports information director during most of my tenure. Joe Kinney and his staff handled injuries and related matters in admirable fashion, and a succession of managers, some of whom I remain in contact with more than 30 years later, performed countless thankless, even onerous tasks with energy and enthusiasm. The late Horace Turbeville, a dear friend, yet another member of the Hall of Fame, and a bevy of other coaches in other sports who were colleagues. They tendered support, served as sounding boards, became staunch friends. I owe all of these individuals an enduring debt of gratitude, but the ultimate expression of appreciation must be reserved for the guys I coached. Over the course of a dozen years, they brought me the occasional moment of heart-rending sadness, once or twice threatened to drive me to sheer madness, but mostly produced an enduring and endearing time of gladness. I'm intentionally refraining from mentioning any names of players, simply because to do so would be unfair to those I didn't name. Every individual I coached, and a good number, as I said, are present this evening, was special to me in one fashion or another. Today, they're teachers and preachers, lawyers and financiers, coaches and accountants, fathers and family men, solid citizens, and successes in the most important game of all, the game we call life. Each of them blessed me, and I want to share a few short quotes from letters and emails I've received from former players since learning of this singular honor. "Coach, you put your heart and soul into Winthrop soccer. Playing for you did a lot for me in my personal development, and I know that most of the players you touched can say the same thing. That magical season of 1979 was one of the high points of my life, a real testimony to your leadership and faith in a ragtag bunch of guys from around the globe you somehow molded into a team." Yet another quote, "You touched many lives, not only on the playing field, but in the classroom. Always the educator, you taught hundreds of young men the art of the game and the importance of giving your personal best. Further, you inspired many of them to make the same commitment in their communities through youth soccer, high school and collegiate coaching positions, as referees, as loving parents, as contributors to the world at large. Your name's going on a plaque, but more importantly, it will always live in the hearts of those who played for you. Coach, there were some eye-rolling moments when you launched into one of your tirades about the importance of stellar performance in the classroom as well as on the field. Looking back, though, we all know you were right. And finally, I just want to thank you for the opportunity you gave me when you asked me to come and visit Winthrop and subsequently signed me to a grant in aid. It literally changed my life. And on top of that, I even got to take a history class under you and thoroughly enjoyed listening to and learning from you in your true element. For me, that final quotation pretty much goes to the heart of the matter, except in a very real sense, that player got it backwards. It was my life that was changed, and changed in grand and glorious fashion. And that's something for which I will forever be grateful. I have always been and will ever remain a firm believer in the ancient Greek concepts, mens sana, mens corpora, which roughly translates means that a sound mind and a sound body go together. In my view, though it may seem a bit jarring on occasions such as this, athletes and athletics should always yield pride of place to matters of the mind. Recognizing as much, though, I hasten to add, the ultimate thank you for this honor comes squarely from the playing fields and goes directly to all of those who made it possible, those whom I coached. They gave me so much to remember, such gratifying years of sweet splendor under the bright sun of many a September. Thanks to each and every one of those players, and thanks to those of you who are here tonight. Please know that for me, it's a magical, deeply meaningful moment. Thank you.